Welcome to Power Dunk Supersports presents the March Masksness presented by Protein City Bracket, brought to you by Buckhead Bolts, the supervillain warehouse for mechanized mooks. I'm your host, Cassidy. My pronouns are she and her, and unfortunately my co-host, Charlie, is unable to join us, so instead we have special guest. Please introduce yourself as you would like to be introduced.
Hi, I'm Jeremy. I usually GM over at Apex City. I use he, him pronouns, and I am very excited to be here.
We are glad to have you on the program.
I'm glad to be here.
Before we dig into it, I just want to hear your general thoughts about how March Masksness is going so far.
It's giving me lots of feelings. Mostly good, occasionally complicated. Everyone is very, very sweet. I love this community so much, and my heart is legitimately going to explode inside my chest, and I am going to be dead. So I think Christina's going to do a good job GMing Apex City from here on out. She's fantastic. No, I love everyone involved in this. I have had so much. I just feel extremely lucky to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm only recently and barely within this community, and even I am blown away by everything that's happening. I love it so much.
Yes, and anytime you want to be in this, there's always a place for you in our little city. So,
Aw. Well, thank you.
I enjoyed your character so much that I put her in a bracket. She's not going to show up till June, so I got faith.
Alright, well, I'll get in touch with you after we're done recording about the thought that I had.
Okay.
Anyways, back to discussion of the bracket at hand. Well, actually, before we even get into that, I have some messages from my beloved co-host, Charlie. He says the following. I am proud of the Apex City characters, even those who did not win. I still think the Baroness has this in the bag. I believe in all of the bulls learning self-control for round 2. I know we were 100% wrong in our predictions. Blame science. To which I say, science isn't wrong. The variables have just changed.
Science is complicated. And to be fair, you were not 100% wrong.
No.
No, not 100. So,
A broken beaker is white twice a day. So they say.
Is it? Is that how that saying goes?
Charlie also says hi, Jeremy.
What's up?
And I'm not going to read this other message because I don't want to completely embarrass her. But I will message to you right now.
Okay, all right. I can live react. Hold on, let's do this. Oh, Charlie.
All right,
Charlie. Okay, yes.
So let's look at the first quarter or first quadrant and compare our predicted results to what actually happened.
Okay. I have the actual results up here, so if you want, you can give your prediction, and then I'll give what actually happened. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Cool.
So, for the first match, Lady Terminator versus Rascal King, we predicted Rascal King. Not only did we predict Rascal King, we predicted Rascal King would make it like 2 more rounds.
I really wanted Rascal King to win just because I love the concept of Rascal King, but if we're being honest, Lady Terminator definitely had this one in the bag and absolutely deserved the win, which she got by a solid, math is hard, 71 to 29%. What are we talking about? A solid margin.
So let me just update this so it no longer says Rascal King.
I still love you, Rascal King, but Lady Terminator would absolutely have won that match.
Alright, so next up we have Blade of Sorrows versus Rider Typhon, and we predicted Blade of Sorrows.
Nope, Rider Typhon. Folks love a Rider, and I cannot fault them for it.
Yeah, it's a very good character type.
It is, and there's a couple in these brackets, and I'm here for each and every one of them.
Yes, and I'm a little upset about what happened to one of them coming up on this list.
I know, me too.
So next up we have Menderman versus Edgelord, and we voted for Menderman for no discernible reason.
Okay, I love a Taylor. I love a Taylor as much as the next person, but Edgelord has a ghost sword, and ghost swords are cool. Edgelord won in a landslide.
Next up we have Dame Atlas versus Boom, which, despite my original thoughts, we voted for Dame Atlas to win to begin with. But that was in fact Boom.
I think the real winner here was Friendship.
This is true. I would argue this is the first friendship of March Masksness.
This is to my understanding, I think the strongest friendship of March Masksness, and I feel like while Boom technically won, we all grew together as a team.
Agreed. We finally got one correct here in this next matchup of Hope versus Livewire, in which we voted that Livewire's dog would win.
Livewire's dog definitely win. Livewire's dog, I believe Sparky is the best boy. Just the best boy. And Livewire's pretty cool too, let's be honest.
So I hear.
It's true.
Up next we have Calico versus Witch. We predicted Calico would win via the power of infinite cats.
If Calico's power was actually infinite cats, I think you would be correct, but unfortunately not so much. Witch took that by a 60 to 40, so, pretty decent swing. And now we get the good Witch versus Livewire's dog match, and in which Witch actually has to be a very bad person in order to beat this dog.
Yeah, it's a shame, really.
Yeah.
Next we had Nazgrim versus Jump Scare. Now, I really did want Jump Scare to win. I know nothing about Jump Scare, but just the concept, like the character that I envisioned in my head there is very good.
I wanna shout out. I absolutely love LGBT&D. They are consistently one of the podcasts that I absolutely look up to, and this match was a tie. This match was won by a tiebreaker.
Yeah,
so it really was anyone's match there. Yeah.
I would love to know what the tie-breaking rules were, and if it was just a coin flip or what, because
it was not, and I will tell you off the air because I don't know how public it is, but I know what the tiebreaker was.
Okay.
So it was legit.
All right.
But Nazgrim just edged out Jump Scare, just by the narrowest margin.
And now for the most devastating to our bracket upset, Piero versus Black Cavalier.
Okay, we were discussing this, and I want to say this. Look, okay, Black Cavalier is another writer, and we love writers here. Piero is a very off-putting mime who, if we're being honest, kind of fails forward a lot of the time. And I love Piero. They are one of my favorite characters ever. When Lenny pitched me a silent character in the audio medium, I almost died. But I am very, very happy with just being here, so... Yeah, Black Cavalier wins this match.
Yeah, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Piero is friend-shaped.
No, and they definitely are. And I definitely showed all of this to Lenny, who plays Piero, and Lenny was very, very touched and very, very tickled.
Well, that has completely reset our quadrant down to the round 2, because none of the people we predicted going past round 2 went past round 2.
So, we can only go up from here.
So let's move over to the Heavendale quadrant,
yes.
Where we have William and Furnace versus Gloria. We did correctly predict that Gloria would win this one.
Yes, without even knowing Gloria's whole deal, which is Christmas Elf. And people love Christmas. I tried my best to spin this as Santa is a fascist, and you should not vote for Gloria. I tried my absolute best. Gloria wins. Gloria deserves that win.
I did just notice that the March Masksness official Twitter account did say, with a decisive lead, Black Caviar wins over Piero. So I do need to go update the bracket real quick.
You know what? I am never going to call anyone out for their spelling, especially in an event this size. But
absolutely not. But I love running with silly jokes.
That's fair. Also, I think Caviar is a running joke in Apex City, so Caviar beating Piero is canon.
All right. So next is Alina Mars versus the Huger.
Yes. Alina wins.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Oop.
And again, I love both of these characters, so this was actually a very hard vote for me to cast. I'm not going to tell people which way I voted, but I do agree with the results.
Next, we did actually judge this one correctly. Insectivore did move past Invocation.
Yes. Yes.
And now for a sudden and personal upset for me. Tutankhamun Rider losing to Ace.
Oh, I know. And again, this is like knowing both of these characters, right? Like this is one that actually does make kind of sense. Ace is an ace. But God, I love Tutankhamun Rider just on strength of name alone, but also on strength of character.
Every new thing I learn about Tutankhamun Rider just makes me think, wow, that's a good character.
Right, and to be fair, that is the point, is to discover new concepts and discover new characters, and I feel like Tutankhamun Rider is definitely going to have a following post March Masksness. But if we're being honest, I think this was definitely the right decision. I think Ace deserved the win there.
Okay. Next up was the Golden Glove versus Foresight.
Yes, and Golden Glove is a very, very punchy, very, very punchy hero, as you might guess from the name. Foresight can see the future, and the future was Foresight getting punched. Golden Glove, TKO.
Unfortunate. Next up we have Puck versus Doomzone, and this is the one prediction we have that goes all the way to the end that can stay on the list for now, before we move on to the other brackets where similar things happened.
So Doomzone was matched against somebody. I guess Doomzone just didn't show up. Yeah, it's gonna be a bye round.
Yeah, we'll find out who they are next round, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's weird to have that empty space on the bracket though.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, day 3.
Yeah, next we have Imp versus Myriad.
Imp wins. Imp takes the win over Myriad, and I am a little bit behind on both of these, but I'm kind of sad because I will 100% support any newborn, and Myriad is also an insect character, and I love all of those things. So I'm sad that Imp wins, but I don't know a whole lot about Imp, so I can't make a value judgment there.
Yeah,
I just love Myriad, so
that's a matchup where I don't know a whole lot about, other than the assumption I made about Myriad having a myriad of powers.
Yes.
So next up
and made of a myriad of bugs.
Oh, bugs.
Right.
Next up we had, for the final match in the Heavendale Quadrant, Frequency versus Mirage. And we seem to have correctly suggested that Frequency beats Mirage.
Yeah, in a room full of holographic technology, Frequency does both of those things real well, and Frequency definitely wins that matchup by a solid margin.
Gotta say, I did notice there's a large number of heroes in this competition that have the power of holograms and lights.
Yes, Light-based stars and hologram-based delinquents seem to be pretty well represented here. So we'll see how well that helps going forward into the next rounds of competition.
So jumping over to Halcyon City, we have Nolan Marks versus Kid... Is it Katie or Caddy?
Kid Katie, I believe.
Kid Katie.
Yes, I need to catch up on Nerds on a Roll. They're very, very good.
Kid Katie is in fact the winner of that match, which is not how we predicted it.
It was a tight match. It's 11% between the two, and that's statistically very not significant. I don't know how statistics work, by the way, so I'm just, don't...
I couldn't even think of a good word joke. So next up we had Green Knight versus Pumpkin.
Yes, and Green Knight takes this match, and I know that there are a lot of Pumpkin fans out there, and again, I love both of these characters. They are both fantastic, and to steal a phrase from you, they are both friend-shaped. But Green Knight has an axe, and Pumpkin is made of plants.
This is true.
So...
I love that there is more than one gourd-based superhero on this list.
Right? Like, in this particular bracket, like in the Halcyon City bracket, we've got Pumpkin, we've got Gourd Lord. Darren's more of a mushroom, but there's a lot of plant-based heroes here.
Yeah, and one person with snow powers and another person with an axe.
Yes. Doing some gardening.
Speaking of ice powers, I assume we have Snowflake versus Pippa.
Yes, and Pippa has light-based powers, but this was a 2% lead. This was a very, very narrow match. So Pippa just barely edging this out, which is fine.
I will say that I currently do have now 2 episodes of knowledge about who Pippa is.
Good. Rollout is such a good podcast, fellas, folks, people. Please.
Friends.
Please. Go listen to Rollout. It's real good.
Speaking of Rollout, we have a Rollout versus Rollout match here. Beep Boop versus Gourd Lord, the Lord of Gourds.
I have to say this out loud. Beep Boop support group! Beep Boop support group all the way. Beep Boop going to the finals. We are taking Beep Boop all the way. I love Beep Boop. And I hate this because potentially one of our Apex City kids is going to have to face off against Beep Boop. And that is going to murder me. I'm gonna just cry in a corner for like a solid week afterwards because I want Beep Boop to get so far. I want Beep Boop to get as far as Beep Boop can get. I love Beep Boop.
I will say that the Beep Boop support group is also very powerful.
Beep Boop support group is very, very powerful. Beep Boop's got goats for Beep Boop, and Beep Boop support group, so Beep Boop has some definite mimetic advantages here.
Alright, next up there is Coral versus Reversal.
And Coral wins over Reversal. I thought for sure Reversal would take it at the last minute in a stunning reversal, but I was incorrect. Sea life is very important.
I said it would be a textbook reversal before, but clearly Coral's read the book back and forth from cover to cover and knew what was coming.
Yes.
Next we have Faye versus Scarlet Web.
And Faye wins in another very, very narrow matchup. It wasn't even 2%.
Yeah.
It was like 50.2 to 49.8. It was ridiculously close.
A game of inches, they say.
Yeah, really. And again, this was a very hard, very matchup for me to vote in.
Well, speaking of hard matchups.
Yes. Oh, God.
We have the Get Up Noise versus Daybreak. Okay.
I am extremely excited that Daybreak won. I'm going to lift the veil a little bit here. I might have actually voted for both of them because I have my personal account and my podcast account. So I canceled out my own vote.
I'll pull back the curtain a bit and say that if there was ever a match that I was very invested in, I voted on it from like 5 different Twitter accounts.
Oh, God.
That's the power of podcasting.
No, I know.
The podcaster advantage.
Because, like, Eric, who plays Daybreak, is a very, very wonderful person. Just absolutely beautiful individual. And one of my castmates over at St. Fleur and did a fantastic job with Daybreak. But also, Evan, who plays the Get Up Noise, also plays Eliza Highwire in hindsight. And I love them both so much.
They're
You're
good
tearing
kids.
me apart. Just tearing me apart.
Well, speaking of tearing you apart, the winner of this match is going to...
Yeah, no.
Next week we have to deal with Darren versus Daybreak, because Darren did beat out the Tames.
The Toms.
Yes.
I believe.
I was referring back to my old previous joke.
You are, and you made that joke, and now that you mention it, I remember that joke. But as mentioned, I have been up since 6 a.m. this morning.
Yes, and I'm a terrible person for also referencing my own joke.
No, you're not. Self-referential humor is the best humor. Second only to puns. But, yeah, my heart grew 3 sizes this day because both Darren and Daybreak won in their matches, and I was expecting none of that. So I've been having some complicated emotions.
I'm also glad that Darren won because that means I didn't have to cry real tears.
Oh, yeah. Our cast chat has just been like vibrating this week, it's very wonderful to see. I don't know who I pick for Darren versus Daybreak. I think probably Darren, just on strength of background.
I'll say it now because I'm gonna have to say it again later. I'm going Darren. I believe in Darren.
I do love this mushroom from Beyond the Stars.
I mean, that said, I'm pretty sure Daybreak might have better control over their powers, and when we get to talking about round 2.
Okay, so Daybreak's the innocent, right? And this is 90s Daybreak. Now, future Daybreak is really scarily competent, but 90s Daybreak kind of accidentally destroyed Kopi HQ. Which is not to say that Darren has not caused a lot of collateral damage. Darren is the most destructive member of our core cast. Who knows? I can't vote in this match. I'm not going to.
Alright, so then we're moving on to less dangerous territory for the both of us with an Intravenous versus Geiger match.
And Intravenous wins by a fairly large margin.
Yes, it was the biggest win of the week at that point.
It was 65% to 35%, and I fully support this. CC is real good, lovable.
So that brings us to Crash Override versus Disco.
And by a very, very narrow margin, again, this is like a 2% swing, Disco wins out over Crash Override.
They're both pretty good names.
Yeah, no, they're both really good characters, too. Like, roller skating, kind of flashy. Yeah, no, they're both real good. I love them both. There was no loser in this match.
Next up, there is Windshear versus Night Owl.
Okay, so now we're getting to the matches that are not actually settled yet. So
yeah, I think based on the leads of these, I'm just going to go with what they're currently at as winning. Cause...
Well, don't tell me, because I haven't voted in this match.
Oh.
Because I can't, because I love them both so much. Yeah, I haven't voted in this match at all. I want this to be a surprise for me. If I had to guess, it probably would be Night Owl, because Sage is real strong and Ramon is real hot-headed. So, but, you know, they're both very good. They're both real good.
All right, and then in that case, I will have to just do the stuff for predictions on my own for those very quietly.
Okay.
Just let people.
No, you can tell me your prediction. I just don't want to know who's actually winning right now.
Well, I meant when we get to predicting round 2.
Oh, gotcha. That's fine. If I had to predict, I would predict Night Owl.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay. Next up is High Wire versus Machina.
I voted for High Wire. I think High Wire's in the lead.
High Wire is pretty significantly in the lead.
Okay. Yes. Nothing against Machina, but I love High Wire.
Yes, and that is not what we had predicted previously, so let me just swap that out.
High Wire's a real good circus-themed hero, and you may notice that we have kind of a running theme of those.
Circus-themed heroes are good.
They very much are. If it's good enough for Dick Grayson, it's good enough for me.
And here it is, the matchup of all matchups. The Baroness versus Sad Sack.
I love this bear. I would die for this bear.
I would also die for this bear.
I would do horrible, unspeakable things for this bear. And as Christina's GM, she is routinely one of my favorite people just as a person on Earth, but also this character is so good. And that's not to say Sad Sack isn't. Sad Sack is real good. Jerry had a whole event last year that was absolutely amazing. I love them both, but I think Bear wins.
I love the bear. Next up we have Papillon versus Sakatoa.
So I am a little bit behind on Roll to Breathe. I don't know a whole lot about... is it Papillon or Papillon? I know it's
probably
Papillon. I don't know. I'm not sure. I do know a lot about Sokotoa, who is tied with every other Protean City main character for my favorite Protean City character. And Sokotoa's moment of truth was one of the just defining moments of that podcast for me, at least early on. And so, yeah, Sokotoa for days. Gadgetry and geometry.
All right, so next up we have Miraculous versus Lady Death, and what is currently the matchup most likely to change between right now and after we're done recording.
I am 100% Team Miraculous. 100%. Lots of magic and a cool floaty crown. That is extremely... do we swear on this podcast? Or on this thing? Do we swear on this?
You can swear. Here's what I'll say if you're going to swear, is that I do not edit anything about this. Because video editing is a nightmare if you don't know how to do it.
That is fair. So I will just say then, go Team Miraculous.
Yeah, and that's who we suggested would win last week, and so I will keep it on the list as such. Now, next up we have Shadowclaw versus Jupiter Rising for the last matchup. Now I will say, having listened to the character creation of Season 1 of LGBT&D, I now would actually probably go back and vote for Shadowclaw above Jupiter Rising. But unfortunately, it does look like Jupiter Rising has the lead.
I believe in a good ninja. I believe in the power of melodrama, and I believe in tragic backstories, and Shadowclaw has all of those things. Also, I love Jupiter Rising because, frankly, space gas hero is cool.
Yeah, I will say reading the sentence transformed into a cloud of caustic vapor is pretty good.
That is a real good origin story. But remember, we're fighting holographic enemies here, and gas actually just makes like lasers show up more. So if you have like that dry ice kind of thing going on, your lasers show up stronger. So I think Jupiter Rising might actually make the enemies stronger.
Yes, I am just going to go to the finals bracket and remove the people that are not actually listed as going to the finals anymore. So that way everything's up to date. I will say that our finals matchup is still technically plausible.
So, see, look, you're doing good. You're doing good. This whole sports prediction thing, easy peasy.
It's science, really. It's sweet science.
It's just science.
I have now
You make
updated the Baroness wins text to actually scroll and be all fancy.
Ooh, that's so good.
All right. So now that we've recapped everything, let's take a quick break and hear a word from our sponsor. That's right. Our sponsor again is Bucketto Bolts, the supervillain's warehouse for mechanical mooks. If you need to get clock... Dang it, I messed up my own ad read. I can't believe I've done this.
It's the worst. We're never going to recover from this.
No, it's not exciting. Now I'm trying to think about how I would actually word it.
Bucketto's is going to sue us for breach of contract.
Something about...
And they supply supervillains.
Something about clockwork crime, all right? That's the ad read.
Please, Bucketto's, do not come after us.
Please.
I have nothing of value.
I am not an actual superhero. I just play one on podcasts.
I don't even do that.
Okay. So, let's take a dip in and start reassessing some of these predictions. Because we know that round 2 is very specifically going to be... let me just read the rules. The second round is a challenge of control. Whether it's expert swordsmanship or precise control of a magical ability, only the heroes who display the highest level of control over their skills or powers will move on. The control challenge room is a large, clean, open space filled with villainous mannequins, targets of all sizes and ranges, and a wide variety of stackable objects. The smaller side room has a huge variety of weapons and tools one might need. The heroes will be brought into the challenge room with their competitor and given time to set up their exhibition. The video feed will be turned on for the judges and the show of control will begin.
Okay.
So,
yes.
In the matchup of Moon Harbor's Rider Typhon and... Is that Critical Bits, Lady Terminator?
Yeah, that is Critical Bits, yeah.
Who would you say is more likely to exhibit a mastery of control?
Okay. So, I love me a writer. I love a good writer. But I actually really think Lady Terminator is going to get this particular match.
Okay.
And I had a whole thing there, and I am just blanking. I'm absolutely blanking. I'm so sorry. I love Lady Terminator, love Critical Bits. I think Lady Terminator's got this one.
All right. I don't know enough to argue with you, and I think that robotic precision, which is what I assume from the name.
I think magnetism powers, electromagnetism.
That's also pretty exacting.
Yeah.
Magnetism is a science. And science is precise.
Yeah, it's very scientific. Now, Rider Typhon is a rider and has a motorcycle, which is also science. But Lady Terminator could disassemble this motorcycle with magnetic powers.
Next up, we have Edgelord versus Boom. And now, I will say that I am now on the Boom train.
Boom, 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 boom.
And while it is a test of control, the way the setup sounds like makes it also sound like a gymnastics routine.
If hold on, I gotta oh god, we're doing this live. I'm so sorry. I should have had this pulled up ahead of time. You know what, it's fine, don't worry about it. So I feel like Boom is I just love Boom. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I also
it's 11 o'clock at night. I'm so tired.
I'm trying to maintain like a level of paying attention to the rules, but at the same time I can only do that so far.
It's true. So it depends on what we mean by control, right? So Boom can create explosions by pointing at things and saying boom. Now that is pretty exacting. That's pretty precise. Edgelord has a ghost sword and is very, very good with it because they train a lot, but it depends on what we are controlling our powers to do. If the point is to explode a box and Boom can stand across the room and point at a box and explode it, I'd make an argument that's pretty good display control there, right?
Yeah, and if it's a bunch of villainous mannequins, I don't think you have to worry about collateral damage as much.
Yeah, and again, it doesn't say what we are controlling for, because these heroes are setting up their own scenarios. So if the point is to explode a bunch of stuff, right, then I think Boom has a very strong case to be made. And also, Boom has the power of friendship, and that beats all odds.
Yes. Suggesting now that perhaps Boom's routine is a shooting gallery where they launch boxes into the air and shoot them.
Oh, that would be good, like clay pigeons?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Boom. Check it out.
All right. Next we have Livewire's dog versus Witch.
Oh, this is a hard match.
Dogs
They're both
notorious for being well trained, mostly.
Yes. Also, Livewire has a car battery on a chain. I don't know how that ties into control, but pretty good with it, as I recall.
Sounds like science to me.
It's very scientific. There's a lot of electricity involved. It's a lot of science. So Livewire has both dog science and electricity science.
Dog science.
Dog science is the best science. Give it to that good boy.
All right, let me just paste reference, drop that over. All right, so now we have Nazgrim versus Black Caviar.
That tasty black caviar.
That $10,000 caviar.
It's real good. It's real good caviar. It's like beluga. It's hard to come by. So, okay, Nazgrim is an alien warlord who is real good at fighting, and Black Cavalier is a writer, and as we know, writers are very precise and only do good. So the only common writer that I have watched all the way through, by the way, is Forza, which is the best, and Gentaro is my idiot son, but never causes a lot of collateral damage, so I gotta give it to the writer.
I'll agree, and the only thing that I have seen that is like a common writer is Samurai Flamenco, which is my favorite anime of all time, and I highly recommend it.
I will show you some Forza when we get a sec. You'll love it.
All right, so that completes the round 2 predictions for the Protean City quadrant. Let's jump over to Heavendale. Next, we have Gloria versus Alina Mars.
Okay.
Now, if I know anything about Christmas elves, it's that they're precise.
Are they?
Well, think, you have to assembly line produce children's toys of any variety.
I have worked assembly line, and you check the hell out after like 10 minutes.
Well, here's the thing. It's indistinguishable from the official factory-made product.
So here's the question. Does Santa actually make all these toys, or is Santa the head of the largest criminal ring the Earth has ever seen?
Well, Santa doesn't make any of the toys. It's the elves.
Exactly. And if you have non-unionized workforces and you just say, get these toys by Christmas, I would posit most of these toys are stolen. These toys are hot, or they're knockoffs. Now, one thing I do know is that Alina Mars is a secret agent with telekinesis. And very, very precise.
That's... Telekinesis just feels more precise to me now that you mention it.
Right? She has a secret base and a mentor and trains all the time. All the time. Never gets into trouble. No shenanigans, no hijinks. All serious, all business, all the time.
Okay. So previously last week we did predict that Insectivore would beat Tutankhamun Rider.
Yes.
Do we think that's still true now that the opponent has changed?
I love Hamilton. I love Hammy. I love Insectivore. But Ace is also real good. Oh, this is a hard match.
When I hear the power, you eat a bug, you become a bug. That's good.
It's very versatile. It's very, very
Think
versatile.
about all the bugs you could eat.
I could eat a lot of bugs. Things I never thought I'd be saying on air.
That's what the show's for.
Right? Yeah, I think Insectivore has a pretty good chance. Chance here. I think so.
Now, Golden Glove versus Puck.
So Golden Glove has a buy round here, which is weird that we would get a buy round in round 2. But I mean, I guess there's no opponent, so it's Golden Glove, right?
Well, what if Golden Glove just gets real tired?
I don't know. He's a boxer. Golden Glove is all about that stamina, right? You gotta rope a dope.
Well, boxers only have to go for a predetermined number of rounds.
I mean, it depends on what kind of rules you're fighting by, right?
I guess.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, again, this is not a straight up fight, right? This is a precision kind of thing. So Glove definitely has those bag skills.
Mm-hmm.
So if Golden Glove can set up, the challenge to just be like precision strikes, I think, yeah, sure. Especially if there's no opponent, which there is no opponent. So, yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna leave the next one blank.
Okay.
I want to play with you in this space, but
that's fair. I'm committed to the bit.
There's only so far I can go with still being able to put the prediction down.
That is fair.
All right. So next is Imp versus Frequency.
And again, this is control. This is precision, and
no holograms this time around.
No holograms, but that doesn't necessarily matter, right? Because Frequency can create illusion and do stuff, without holograms. Frequency is a very tech-based hero, though, and it sounds like there's mostly like boxes and targets and that kind of stuff in the descriptions, right?
You okay? That's true. But when you mentioned the holograms, I did think of like a group dance number, but with a single person.
Also, Imp is kind of like a punk rock magic person. So, like, punk, if I know anything about punk music, which I do, is that a punk band is one that is defined as a band that has more enthusiasm than talent. And I love punk music, so don't at me. But Imp, by the nature of being punk rock, can't be very controlled, right?
I don't know as much about punk as I know about ska, which is only a subdivision. But I will say
they're like neighbors.
Yeah, I will say that skanking is the least controlled dance that you could possibly do.
That is very true.
And for that reason alone, I will have to vote for Frequency.
That's fair.
All right. Jumping over to the other side of the bracket, over in Halcyon City, we have Kid Katie versus Green Knight.
What this comes down to for me again is that Green Knight has an axe, and I love axes.
Axes aren't necessarily a very precise weapon.
They can be.
They can be, but like traditionally, they're not.
Well, Green Knight also has plant control too, so that's a really broad power set.
Okay.
I'm all in for Green Knight.
Okay. I don't know anything about Kid Katie's moveset, so...
Okay.
So I'm just going to have to agree with you here. And now, this is a tough one, because I do know a little bit about each of these characters. Pippa versus Beep Boop.
Beep Boop support group for me. All Beep Boop all the time.
I'll have to agree with you because Beep Boop is a robot. And robots are scientific and precise, and we're all about science here on Power Dunk Super Sports.
Power Dunk Super Sports is the most scientific.
Join the conversation, hashtag podunksoupsports.
Yes. It's a good conversation.
So, Coral v. Faye.
I want to give this one to Faye.
I have no idea what Coral's powers are. Like, for some reason, I don't even remember reading the name last week. Because I remember Reversal, but I don't remember Coral's name at all.
Yes. Let me bring up Coral right quick.
I'm going to guess that they are aqua adjacent.
That is a great question. Oh, Coral's on day 4.
And if I know anything about Coral, is that it's being an endangered substance, I will say. An endangered being, which is not necessarily good and is a problem with our planet, but does not bode well for a hero who I can only presume has the powers of Coral.
Okay, here we go. So Coral has acid powers and a strong sense of morality.
Mm.
And Faye is a doomed Egyptian-American hero with a demon living in her mind. So that's the officials. So acid powers versus demon power.
Both very chaotic.
Right? Potential for a lot of chaos there. That's a hard one. That is a tough one. I still actually want to give it to Faye because acid tends to keep doing things after you've let it go, right? It's like setting a fire. The reaction just keeps going. Whereas whatever Faye destroys with her demon powers will be destroyed, but then it's not like it's going to keep going, right?
I'll agree with you, but I will say, for Coral's defense, that if you set up a Rube Goldberg machine, it is one thing continuing to do its own thing, but it's very scientific about it. It's very planned.
Yeah, that is very fair.
So now I see here that we have just written down for this slot, Darren, very large.
Yes. How do we feel about that? I have Darren spoilers that I am not going to say. I have to give this one to Darren.
I love Darren.
Yes.
Oh no! I just realized something hilarious. So you know how I said I made the finals text for the Baroness scroll and be all fancy like? That has gone back and applied to every instance where I have written the words the Baroness.
Yes. Go Jackie.
So before we get there, intravenous versus disco.
I do love intravenous. I do love CC. Disco has disco powers, and disco is one of the most powerful kinds of... disco is also, as I recall from the past, I'm not sure, but I know disco has disco powers. And,
less chaotic than ska, still somewhat chaotic.
Still kind of chaotic. But CC is a real good bull, super strong, nanobot powers, and while you may think that bulls are not prone to precision, and CC may not be prone to a lot of precision, I still think that CC's got that inner. I believe in CC. I believe in intravenous.
Okay. I know Charlie would also throw in a vote for intravenous, I believe, so I'm going to follow your hearts.
And following your heart is the most scientific thing you can do.
So next up we have Highwire versus undetermined opponent.
So, okay. I've got two predictions here, right? Because if this is Highwire versus Sage, I actually give it to Highwire, I think, in a match of Control. Right? Actually, no, I give it to Highwire over both of them. I think Highwire has the most precise skills out of any of these potential competitors.
Circus performances take a lot of precision because if you mess up, it goes very bad very quickly.
Yeah, and Night Owl and Windshear both have like really big like superpowers that they tend to kind of fall back on a lot.
Yeah, one of them's a speedster.
I loved those, even as they were very wrong. Highwire's powers are a hatful of knives, which is a good power to have. And acrobatics. So I think Highwire survives on precision. I think Highwire lives on control. So
all the order and precision of a hat full of knives.
It's it's a good hat.
All right. So next we have the Baroness winning, despite the odds, if you ask me.
I know. I know that you are committed to Jackie, and I very, very appreciate that. But I think in a measure of control,
in a measure of control, I agree that it's not the Baroness's.
This is
strong
a tough,
suit.
tough match. No,
but I will say, we mentioned before, robots very scientific, very precise. The Baroness, robot.
It depends. So mild spoilers. Jackie goes through different phases. Jackie is right now a polar bear.
Mm-hmm.
And this polar bear form is actually pretty scientific. But this is the Baroness. And the Baroness is all about charge first, ask questions never. As much as I hate to say it, Sokotoa has the edge there. But I love Jackie so much. I can't vote against Jackie. I'm abstaining from voting. This is in your hands, Cassidy.
Here's the thing, is I'm also abstaining, and I'm just going to leave the bracket as it is now.
We'll just, we don't have to predict this whole thing, right?
Well, here's the thing, is if I don't
variables.
vote and the Baroness still wins, then our bracket's still correct.
That is true.
Worst case scenario, I just change it next week. It's fine.
Right?
I can't bring myself to just remove the Baroness.
I understand that. I understand that feeling.
So, Miraculous versus Jupiter Rising.
So we've got a caustic gas versus a magic kid, and magic requires a level of precision.
Arguably, depending on the situation.
Depends on the magic, but also being a cloud of caustic space gas, I don't know how much control Jupiter Rising would have over what she would caustify, I guess. That's not a word. That's not even a word at all.
It's a word now. Welcome to words.
Words are what you say they are. So I think my vote is Miraculous.
I think I tend to agree. The only argument I would have for Jupiter Rising is that gases are a fluid, and those tend to expand to fill the container they are in as much as they can.
Yeah.
And if you diffuse across an even playing field, that's a type of control.
It's more like a just hit everything, right?
Yeah.
Which is arguably not control at all. It's indiscriminate. Because imagine if they were hostages, right?
Speaking of hostages. Welcome to round 3.
Oh boy.
The division semifinals are a challenge of heroics. The heroes who can rescue the most civilians will move on to the division finals. The Conway Competitive Grounds has a mock office building. At the start of the challenge, a controlled earthquake will damage the building and start off the event. Fires will start to spread, further complicating the challenge. The building will start to sink into the water. The heroes will be challenged with saving as many civilians as they can before the building completely sinks. Do not worry, the civilians inside are trained professionals. Our protection activity team, PAT, is highly skilled at pretending to be civilians while remaining safe.
Yes.
So, in that first challenge of this type of event, we have Lady Terminator versus Boom.
I know I keep hyping Boom, but I actually legitimately think Boom has a better, stronger case here. Boom is all about the power of love and friendship and dolphins and ripping apart space-time for, reasons of feelings. And I feel like if Boom really, really strongly wanted to protect someone, then that person would be very well protected.
Mm-hmm. And I will say that controlled demolition could theoretically make the building stay up a little bit longer.
Could, or at least get the civilians out quicker. Like, you just blow out the entire wall, right?
Mm-hmm. Or blow it up in such a way that the rest of the building collapses like a Jenga tower outside of the water.
Yes.
Next we have Livewire's dog versus Black Caviar.
The dog would eat the caviar. There is no winner. The civilians all die.
It's a rescue dog.
Yes, but caviar is delicious, and that dog, no dog could resist the treat of fine black caviar.
Let me Google something real quick.
Okay. Are you Googling, do dogs like caviar?
I am Googling, can dogs eat caviar? Which is probably yes, but...
Oh, absolutely.
The internet is saying that dogs can have little caviar as a treat.
Yes. Can and should are two different questions here, but dogs absolutely can eat caviar.
It is high in salt, so be careful.
Yes. It's not good for them, but I can't imagine they wouldn't love it.
Okay, but while Livewire's dog is eating the caviar, does Livewire save the people?
I'm going to say yes. Livewire's a good kid.
Black Cavalier is a rider, though.
I mean, that's true, but a motorcycle in a collapsing building is not much help. Mm-hmm. But riders are real good at saving people. It's like the whole tokusatsu kind of shtick, right?
Yeah, and it depends on the motorcycle. There are some riders who have motorcycles that can go up walls.
That's true. I still think Livewire's dog gives the edge here because you've got a search and rescue dog and a hero rescuing people. So I actually still want to give that one to Livewire, if we're being even serious. Right?
Advantage in numbers. Yeah. I agree. Now that you've brought up that fact. Now, before we go on to continue the rest of round 3, I do want to just go ahead and nail out the division finals. Boom versus Livewire's dog.
I think they make friends. Oh, what's the challenge in this one?
It's not been revealed yet.
Oh, right.
So I only assume it's a knockdown, drag-out fight.
I think they become friends. And then I think I still have to support Boom. Because explosion powers, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that puts Boom in our finals bracket. So let me just go ahead and add them there. Boop. Okay. Alright, so let's bounce back over to Heavendale. Alina Mars versus Insectivore.
In a search and rescue, I still have to give this to Alina. She's highly trained, highly focused, all about the job.
Bugs, while cool and strong, not good with fire.
Hammy would do a great job, no mistake in there. But
Why?
Yeah. This is good audio. I just keep making.
There we are. I keep accidentally dragging around the wrong parts of this image.
It's fine.
So next we have just sort of a blank space on the paper and then frequency.
Rescue mission. So this is going to come down to who has what equipment. Because if frequency has a bunch of drones, right? He can tap into those and hive mind network to find people and strategically rescue as many as possible.
And even disregarding the drones, it depends on the type of building, because a lot of buildings at the very least might have security cameras.
Yeah, yeah. If they've got like security cameras or like automatic safety features, like like doors that could like lock to keep water out, or like
Or perhaps if
automatic
it's
sprinklers.
a
Right.
replica of Bucketto Bolt's headquarters, the supervillain warehouse for mechanized mooks. A lot of mechanized mooks.
Yeah, and Frequency could like hijack the mechanized mooks to save people, aside from what they normally want to do, which is cause trouble.
Clockwork criminals turn for good.
So I think Frequency.
Okay. Let me delete these blank spaces on the page that are here.
It's weird that you have to delete blank spaces.
Yeah, it's just this program's very strange sometimes.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Computers are strange. They're scientific, but strange.
That's science.
That's science for you.
Now, Alina versus Frequency.
In a knockdown drag-out fight, Alina any day of the week.
Okay. Let me drag that over there. That also, again, changes our finals bracket, where I have to delete some more fake blank spaces. Okay. Alright. Now we're bouncing over to Halcyon City, where we have Green Knight versus Beep Boop.
Beep Boop support group.
Mm-hmm. Robots are not stopped by things such as fire.
Yeah, fire, water, whatever. Beep Boop don't care.
Which, if we're remembering the fire in this group, does sort of help limit Green Knight's ability to control plants.
Yeah, because plant control would not be great here. And an axe, while a really good rescue tool, only gets you so far.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of plant control, Darren versus
Yes.
Faye.
Yeah, fire is not good for plants. I'm sorry, Darren. I love you. Although Darren could reduce the density of the building to stop it from sinking as quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Darren is also
Hold on, I need to look up some science real quick.
Yeah, go for it. Good audio. I'm just going to muse to myself here for a second. So Faye's got demon abilities, which I'm not sure could
Here's
make her...
a fun scientific fact for you, according to Washington.edu.
Mm-hmm.
The part of the mushroom you pick and eat is actually its fruit. Most of the fungus lives underground as a connected thread-like structure known as a mycelium. Certain conditions, such as fire, prompt some species of morels to fruit, but their affinity for fire and other environmental factors is largely a mystery.
Interesting. Mushrooms keep getting cooler. Okay, Darren.
Mushrooms. Strange.
Nature's perfect creature. Are they plants? Are they animals? Are they something in between? Are they alive? Are they dead? Who knows? Mushrooms.
It reminds me of that one Tumblr post. It's like, don't ask me about mushrooms.
Do not ask me about the mushrooms. I can tell you nothing about them.
Speaking of the mushrooms, Darren versus Beep Boop.
This match tears my soul out, and I cannot vote in it. I'm so sorry. I have to abstain. I'm going to go cry in the corner.
Can you turn a robot into goo?
I mean, if you try hard enough, you can turn anything into goo.
Oh no, this has caused some terrible things to happen on the bracket. You are not going to like this later.
Am I not?
No, I'm not going to like it either. But I have to write it down.
You know, this is science. Sometimes science gives you answers you don't want, but they're answers all the same.
All right, so intravenous versus high wire.
In a rescue scenario, Highwire has a knife full of hat. A hat full of knives.
No, a knife. You were right. And also all of the inherent agility required to be a circus performer.
Yes. And Intravenous has nano machine powers. And a lot of rage issues. I think Highwire's got this one.
Yeah, I know, knowing High Wire's a general ability set does make me lean that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Currently, due to reasons of abstination, this next match is the Baroness versus Miraculous.
Okay. You know what? I actually legitimately give this one to the Baroness. Jackie has been a very rescue everyone kind of hero, aside from the villains whom she does occasionally dismember. But in general, Jackie will save you.
Which would lead to the knockout drag-out fight of Highwire versus the Baroness. Does the power of a hatful of knives stand up against a cyber bear? A cyber, if you will?
Not even a little bit. And I will cyber, but not even a little bit.
Mm. Okay, so that brings us into the finals bracket.
Okay.
So we'll start with the less terrifying match.
Okay.
Boom versus Alina Mars.
Now, we don't know what this challenge is.
No.
This is too close to call for me. I love them both so much.
I'm going to go with, the bias I have of Boom because I know anything about Boom.
That is fair. Because this one is too close for me to touch, so...
Which puts Boom into the finals now.
I love Boom.
All right, now... Jeremy, we've talked about breaking your heart before.
My heart has been consistently broken by March Masksness.
Well, let me do it again one more time with Darren versus the Baroness.
This depends so much on the challenge.
I will say, now that Darren no longer has to go up against ice powers, I think that gives Darren more capability of being a winner.
It does, but...
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Darren and the Baroness would never fight, as far as I know.
As far as you know, yes.
As far as I know.
As far as anyone knows.
Even when they play Mario Party, they would not fight.
Right, they are very good friends. So, okay. I have to give this...
One might call
Darren.
One of them the other's love.
Right, I was about to say, I have to give this to Darren because Darren has consistently been Jackie's love for this entire game. Like, that's like a solid year, right?
Mm.
I don't think Jackie could fight Darren. So I think Darren.
That changes up our finals match entirely from last week.
Yeah. And now again, you're going to rip my heart out. Just through my chest. Still
Darren v.
your Kalima.
I know no such thing as mercy.
Right? Wow, this is hard.
Science.
#podunksoupsports.
Science, she is a cruel mistress.
It's true. As much as I love Darren, I do know that explosions solve a lot of problems.
This is true.
And if we're being scientific about this, which we are, this is hard science. This has no place for emotion.
Yes, but I will talk about from a place of experience because, what's the word I'm looking for? Not incidental.
Context?
No, it's the evidence that you have from having seen it firsthand.
Anecdotal.
Anecdotal evidence is still evidence in the court of science.
Sure.
I'm
not sure that's how that works, but okay.
And I have seen someone blow up a mushroom before. And you know what happens when you blow up a mushroom? Spores get everywhere.
Darren is full of spores, and a lot of them are hallucinogenic. It's a coin flip. It's a coin flip for me.
Oh, I got a coin around here somewhere.
Okay, cool.
You know what? Let's roll a die. That seems more fitting. I'll roll 2d6.
That's fair. That's fair. Let's roll 2d6 plus conditions marked. Let's just both take a powerful blow here.
Okay. You know what? Yeah, let's just roll 1d6 because it's harder to figure out a way to roll 2d6 and make it be an even thing.
That's fair.
Although theoretically,
Okay, yes. Yes, I like theories.
if I roll 2d6 and just re-roll if it's a 7, you can still do high or low. Because the rest of it would still be basically a 50-50.
Okay. All right.
If I understand mathematics as much as I should for having taken so many math classes.
I'm more of a biology guy myself, so I can tell you about macromolecules.
So based on the way the bracket is listed on my screen, Darren will be high, Boom will be low.
Okay, that works.
And I rolled a 9, which means this is in Darren's favor.
Darren, let's go with Darren then.
That's science for you.
Right, and I think like every other match involving Boom, I think this one comes down to the power of friendship, and I think the only one who can match Boom for friendship is Darren.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, okay.
I can't believe Boom's going to show up on the next video that Todd Roman puts out.
Definitely.
I'm going to give Darren a cool scroll in the opposite direction of the Baroness.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
so that covers everything we need to know about the bracket.
Scientific. It is 100% scientific. These predictions, if they are wrong, don't blame us, blame physics.
Yeah. That means something's been messed with the timeline, which, looking at the sort of general vicinity of March Masksness, is entirely possible.
It's not even possible, it is plausible.
Some might say it's already happened.
Some might.
Alright. So I've closed out the bracket. We're back just on the Power Dunk Super Sports March Masksness presented by Protean City, brought to you by Bucketto Bolts, the supervillain warehouse for mechanical mooks. Do you have anything else you want to talk about relating to March Masksness?
Thank you so much for having me on podunksoupsports. I have been a big fan. I've been watching for at least 10, 15 years. I don't know how old that makes me, but it's my favorite sports program, and I have been honored to be on it.
Of course, we love to have guests on. We love to talk about the sweet science that is sports, especially when they are super.
Super sports are the best sports.
It's the only place you can power dunk properly.
With superpowers.
Mm-hmm. Not to say beacons can't power dunk. It's an inherent capability of all heroes.
I'm going to say beacons can't power dunk. Hot takes, 2020.
Oof. You know what I'm going to say to that? I'm going to say that my quick take on that hot take is that it's whack.
That's fair. That's a fair take.
Charlie did have one more thing to mention. So,
yes.
Also say, all the fanfics are real good, keep it up. Okay, that's it.
Oh, yes, absolutely agree. I have read so many fanfics this week, and I love each and every one of them.
I have only read a couple of them, because, I feel like reading them without having knowledge about the characters at all might just not hit correctly in my brain.
I don't know. I have found that a lot of them are actually really good ways to get introduced to these characters. So I'm gonna say that if you don't know these characters and you see a fanfic about them, check it out.
I know that a March Masksness wiki was sort of in construction. I don't know where that's at. But
I have no idea.
But if that's not a thing that is currently being fully done, perhaps a place to archive all of the additional goings-on of March Masksness that are not directly related to the bracket, because in this week alone we've gotten a lot of that happening already, and a lot of stuff that I didn't know happened until 2 days later. What happened to the snack machines?
Okay, so here's the thing, right? So in this extra-dimensional space, there are a lot of kids, and there's a lot of need for snacks because there's a lot of activities. People are running around. It's like a summer camp with superpowers. And somebody broke the snack machines, and we're not sure if it was a reformed or a delinquent. Evidence suggests delinquent, but we don't want to point fingers at anyone who is not guilty. So we are just assuming that it was a supervillain, stray supervillain. Broke the snack machines. And now we are scrounging for the worst snacks in the universe. I believe Sad Sack found that if you eat shrimp and beef jerky, it kind of tastes like cilantro, and beef cilantro is actually not as bad as it would be.
Beef cilantro, my favorite word to hear. Okay. But yeah, I do deeply love all of the weird side stuff that's happening in this event in addition to everything else. This mysterious letter that's been issued as a challenge to all sword wielders. That's exciting. I hear there's other stuff going on with other, playbooks of heroes.
There is a speakeasy where the non-winning competitors have been hanging out, I hear. Pretty happening spot.
It's only happening if, you're not moving onward. You gotta keep it on the download, Jeremy. Come on.
It's exclusive. There's a bouncer. I don't know who that bouncer is, but there's a bouncer.
It's an infinite number of cats.
It's an infinite number of Calico's imaginary cats.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cat speakeasy. Well, I know where I'm going after this.
All right, well, count us as part of the losers bracket. We're getting out of here. So, like always, join the conversation. Hashtag podunksoupsports. That's SOUP for the fun of it. Jeremy, where can people find you and your wonderful show?
You can find us on Twitter at Apex City Cast, and if you want to follow me on Twitter for some reason, you can find me at Tayuface. It's TAYU face.
Please go follow. Gorsh. Please go follow Apex City Cast.
We would greatly appreciate it.
Please, I need to see the Tony Rex Dakota holiday special.
Tony Rex Dakota's erotic Arbor Day.
Bye.